Welcome to episode number 296 of the Keep Up Podcast.
Where Deadpool, Wolverine.
You just peaked 137 times.
I don't even think I was that loud.
It wasn't peaking. It was there's no like pop filter on that.
So every time I said pool,
yeah, look at all
Deadpool,
these. Literally.
Deadpool.
Stop it.
Pool.
Okay, well.
Poopy, pee.
All right.
I did this before.
This has been the Keep Up Podcast. We'll see you later.
Keep Up Podcast?
And, dude, literally I'm going to turn you off.
No!
All right, not literally.
Okay.
Hey, welcome to the Keep Up Podcast where I'm Brett and Tim is Tim.
That's me.
We talk about all the things we consume, be it media or food. And we just went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine. So
hence the intro.
That's why Tim's out of his mind right now. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about that later, but not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Everybody needs to relax because not yet.
I have to confess something.
Okay.
I almost was arrested last Saturday for criminal activity.
Are you being serious?
No.
Oh.
But I did something that probably I shouldn't have done.
Okay.
Hence why I'm going to tell you right now, Brett.
Yeah, hence.
Also, how are you, Brett?
Fine, dude.
Okay.
Whatever. Who cares?
Okay. I care. I care about your
well-being. No, literally, who cares?
I do.
Nobody cares.
I think your wife does. I think your children do. I think your family does.
Can't
I think your friends do.
Can't prove it.
I think your shirts do.
Can't prove it.
Okay. That's all I got on the list. So.
No, I'm good. I think I feel well cared for, you know? Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
What? I don't know. What's up? What's happening?
I just
lost 11 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, that's nice, right? Thank you.
You're doing the opposite of a vegetarian and eating twice as much meat.
Yeah.
The carnivore diet.
Yeah, we're doing a temporary carnivore diet. For the minimum goal is 2 weeks. I'd like to do it for at least 30 days. And then I'm going to start,
That's a lot of meat.
Introducing other stuff.
Yeah.
I like meat, though.
Meat's great.
Meat's great. But you realize, like, you need a lot of it to eat only it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I don't know how calorie-dense meat is.
Depends what you get.
Gotcha.
But typically quite.
Yeah.
And proteinous. What? Come on, man.
It made a noise.
It's made up a word and you didn't even hear it.
Proteinous.
Don't say it.
You just said it.
Don't say it like you know what I said.
I listen.
So yeah, dude, I'm doing pretty well.
Cool. Well.
What'd you do that's illegal?
It wasn't illegal. So last Saturday, we took your kids out to a fun little amusement
Great. This
park.
happened while you had my kids.
Anyways, I'm not going to say anything about that. That'll get me arrested.
I almost just fell out of my chair and dumped this all over your video games.
Dude, you would have had to pay for everyone in Latin.
All right.
Okay,
I don't know what
you
that
did
means.
it. No, don't worry about it. So anyways, it's really nothing crazy.
You took my kids to prison.
Yes.
What?
No, took your kids to this fun, like, amusement area. There was a bunch of things. There was go-karts. There was mini golf. There was an arcade. We did it all. We had a great time.
That sounded gross.
And that did sound gross. And the last thing we did was go and play laser tag.
Yeah.
When was the last time you've done laser tag?
It's been too long. It's so fun.
It's so fun every time.
I love it.
So we went and did laser tag.
It's probably been years for me.
Yeah, I think the last time was like a birthday party when I was like 12.
Yeah.
11 or 12 or something like that. And it's free-for-all rules. So you just go in. There's no teams. There may be teams, but with our amount of people, she just said make it a free-for-all.
Yeah.
So we went in. We're running around. And so there's a bunch of these like little walls that have holes in them, and you can like hide around them and stuff. And we're all shooting at each other, having a great time.
So cool.
At one point, I see what I think is Jazz run up to this wall, and he's hiding behind it. And so I take my gun and stick it through one of the holes, and I say, "Don't move," like I was pretending to joke around with Jazz. And he starts screaming and runs away. Turns out an extra kid came in. This this other child joined in on the game. Because he was alone, I guess. He was by himself. By himself.
And you threatened him?
I threatened him. I whispered through the crack, "Don't move," with the gun sticking out. And I thought, I put it on his shoulder, like he was up against the wall. And
Wait, and he screamed and ran away?
And ran away. And I was like, and I thought it was Jazz, so I found him later.
You're like, run or I'll kill you.
Keep running, child.
I know where you live.
100% thought it was Jazz.
That's incredible.
And yeah, like not even a minute later, I see all of us, and then there's extra kid running towards us, and I was like, I don't think that was Jazz I just did that to.
That's amazing. Don't move.
Don't move. I was like,
so he snuck in after you started your match?
Yeah, so from what we could gather,
nobody knows where he came from.
Yeah, he just walked in. So what happens is when you sign up, you get 10 minutes and your gun has the timer on it. And so once the 10 minutes are up, you have to leave. So our 10 minutes were up and we left. We walked out. We saw his mom sitting there, just like either she was gonna play with him, but she was like, well, there's a game going on. Like the person running it could have been
Go in there with the nice, safe man who won't threaten you at any point.
Everyone's playing. So, dude, even worse. Not only did I scar that kid, but we also left. And he was the only one left in there because he still had time on his gun.
Oh, no.
But our time ran out. So we all walked out because we were like, it's over. But there was no one else in there. He was playing by himself.
This story is so sad.
So as we were leaving, I just look over. I'm like, I don't know if he knows. And he comes peeking out like, oh, is it over? Like he could have had 5 minutes left. I don't know when he went into the thing.
Why didn't you ask the attendant if you could play with him?
Because everyone was leaving. Everybody else was outside. I wasn't going to be the one who almost scarred him for life to be like, hey, can I still play?
You're like, hey, let me back in there with that kid alone. You've got him in a corner crying. You're like, don't move! Don't move!
Just sit there.
That's crazy.
Oh, so yeah.
5 minutes left! You wanted to play the whole time! 5 minutes!
I'm getting the high score! And it's going to cost your life.
You're just sitting there racking up the points.
Just again, shoot him.
That's so funny, dude.
Yeah, so I felt really bad when we left, but we couldn't do anything. It was the guns, everything shuts off. Our armor shuts off, the gun shuts off, so we couldn't continue.
That poor kid.
I know. I felt so bad. And I don't know. I didn't know who he was. Andy joined later, and I don't know. So I scared him, and then we left him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if his mom went in and played with him, or if I don't know what the plan was originally. Was he going to go there and run around by himself?
Right. Just go in and.
Yeah. So I'm surprised the mom didn't join him.
Come on, Mom.
Yeah, Mom.
What am I hearing right now?
I don't know. What are you hearing?
Nothing's happening outside of the headphones. It sounded like turkeys.
But yeah, so that was my my scarring moment.
That's brutal.
Yeah, brutal. Scared him and then left him. Poor kid. But laser tag's still fun.
I'm glad you guys had fun.
Yeah, we had a great time.
You left that poor little orphan boy all by himself in the dark.
I also beat everyone. I got the best score.
Of course you won.
Yo, I'm a god.
So who else? So you and then who?
And then Bailey, our sister.
Yeah.
And then Sim and Jazz.
In that order? Jazz came in last?
Oh, you were talking score.
I know who was there,
I was
dude.
like, I believe Jazz was second.
Okay.
Then Sim, then Bailey.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good game.
Man.
Yeah, laser tag's fun. 10 minutes is a long time, too.
Is it, though?
10 minutes. I think it was $5 per person.
Dude, I want a 30-minute game. I want to be sweating.
Yeah, you could be.
I know I could be.
I was sweating in 10 minutes.
Man, what a good game.
Yeah. I love laser tag.
I can't believe you left that kid alone.
I didn't mean to, and
That's sad. Moment of silence for that kid.
Moment of silence. And now we must reflect.
Yeah.
In reflections.
Please, a moment to reflect.
Reflections, if you're unfamiliar, is a part of the show where we talk about you, our audience.
You, our audience.
Maybe it's a comment, maybe it's a response to something.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you will also know this as the portion of the show where we correct things we may have said incorrectly in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Not like an apology necessarily, just hey, we said that Madonna wrote the song Bye Bye Bye, and it was actually Corpse Grinder of Cannibal Corpse who has the primary songwriting credit.
Yeah. And, we make mistakes like that.
Everybody does it.
But we learn to accept that.
That's right. You got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Mistakes are part of the process, and there's no perfect path to perfection.
Yeah. It's a lot of P's.
Don't say them. Don't control yourself, Tim. So this morning, I got up hella early
Yes.
so that I could go to the movies with this.
Yes. I'm good. I'm not like you, Brett, where I will keep bringing it up for 7 hours.
I don't trust him
when
at
we're
all.
way past the
I
point.
don't trust him at all.
When we're way past the point of talking about perfection. All right, you poopy.
The sound is giving me anxiety. What are you looking at?
The mouse.
What mouse?
There's something in the ceiling that runs around every day.
As long as it's in the ceiling.
Yeah.
That's not like an upside down mouse.
Crawling.
That's the way you looked was like,
Yeah, because you can hear it. It's like right in there, and then it runs across.
that spider's crazy though.
Oh, there's another one.
And that, oh yeah.
So why are we in reflections?
So this morning I woke up
Mm-hmm.
real early. What was that?
That was me waking up.
Oh, cool. So that I could get out early enough so we could go to the movies. Turns out I way overshot it and didn't have to get up at 3:30 in the morning. But what's done is done. Here
we are.
I had time to play some video games before I came over. And this morning I was like, what's gonna get me going? I have a pretty active job. I'm like, what am I gonna listen to this morning? It felt too early. A lot of times I'll start my day with a YouTube video or a podcast, something I can learn a little bit, get some information out of. Today, it was like, it felt too early to learn stuff. I needed some motivational music.
Gotcha.
I was like, what do I want to listen to? I've been in a crazy gaming mood lately.
Nice.
I listened to the entire Mega Man 2 soundtrack.
Oh my God.
This morning in the dark of 4 a.m., whatever. And I listened to the whole soundtrack front to back. And I was thinking about how, I love old school game soundtracks.
Yep.
And they're all like, so many of them are like super upbeat and keeping the energy up. And nowadays, a lot of our soundtracks are beautiful, but they're very like symphonic.
Yes,
you know
very
what I mean?
much like a orchestra.
Yeah.
Like they're meant to almost invoke movie like levels of soundtrack.
Yeah, and soundtrackery is my favorite word of the podcast.
Nice.
Even better than proteinery or whatever I said earlier.
Proteinus? Proteinus? I don't know what you called it.
Proteinus. That one might be my favorite. That's when something has a lot of protein in it.
Yeah.
It's very proteinous.
Dude, so much proteinus in my system.
No. No, you used it wrong.
Oh, I'm learning.
So anyways, I was thinking about video game soundtracks.
Yeah.
And I asked over on our Instagram, you know what? Here's my mistake.
Yeah.
I think I phrased it best video game soundtracks. It could have been favorite because that, sometimes opens up the conversation a little bit more. So I don't know what our responses are. Tim, tell the people.
We got some good responses here. All right, we'll start with Pika's Adventures Photography.
This is over on Instagram, by the way, at the Keep Up Podcast on Instagram.
Interesting collection here. Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core.
Oh.
Pretty solid. Anything Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
you're looking at a very good soundtrack.
I was going to say, I'm not familiar with Crisis Core. I am familiar with 7, although I haven't played through the game yet still, which is brutal. I know.
You'll get to it.
Yeah, someday.
You know?
I'll have to retire one day.
Eventually. Yeah, this one just essentially builds on Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
It takes a lot of the music you like and, changes some of the tempos. Sometimes
Makes it dubstep?
Yeah, mixes it. Well, I don't think dubstep, but which is really cool. So it's kind of like a remake of an album almost.
Cool.
Which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
And then Devil May Cry 3, which
Whoa.
Devil May Cry also wicked good.
Got to be a lot of guitar work.
Yep.
It's almost like the energy of Sonic songs, like the later Sonic songs. I feel like.
It is. There's a lot of like, I almost want to call it like angelic, like chorus stuff.
Oh yeah, like a choir vocals.
Yeah, but like during more heavy metal music.
Yeah.
Like they kind of mix both the light and dark. So soundtracks are actually a really cool things to look into for video games specifically.
So good.
Because they always try to capture what the feeling of the game is. And
Yeah.
Devil May Cry is a great example where it's like both heavy but also very angelic, and then they combine the two, and you're like, what am I listening to?
Dude, I've been like surrounded by soundtracks lately because the other day I wanted to listen to something kind of calming and I wasn't sure what. And I remembered how good the Shadow of the Colossus soundtrack is.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. So I put that on. I was listening to it. And then that night, my neighbor invited me over. And he had a Legend of Zelda soundtrack just playing on a Bluetooth speaker.
that's cool.
I was like, are you listening to... And he's like, yeah, I just put on like a Zelda playlist. I was like, this is so
Heck
good.
yeah. Especially like there's so many games you haven't played yet that once you hear the soundtracks, like Zelda, for instance.
Yeah.
You know, you have so many years of Zelda history of music that is so like ingrained in my head from all the games. So it's cool.
It is very cool.
It's very cool.
It's very cool.
It's cool. Anyways, Tichu said Ace Attorney, which has a very like, it's a really good soundtrack.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's more like intense and like almost court because it's a courtroom drama, I guess. But like that level where it's like
Just like the Law and Order theme over and over
yeah,
again.
it's like dun 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 dun, and like
Dude, Capcom has good... I mean,
it's funny. That's kind of a theme through a lot
Devil
of
May
this.
Cry's Capcom, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then Street Fighter music, Boss.
Yep.
So good. Mega Man.
Tichu also said Sonic, Zelda, Pokemon, Chrono Trigger.
Oh, yeah.
All seriously like the peak of music, of video game music. All
yeah.
of that rest in my head forever.
Yeah, so
Chrono
good.
Trigger is the only one I haven't played.
You haven't played Chrono Trigger?
I know. It's
Bro.
RPGs are one of my weakest
Yeah,
genre of games. I
same.
love them, but I only play a couple.
Wonder
a
if that's
year.
genetic. We both have that.
It's maybe
RPGs are tough.
Where'd we get it from, Mom?
Yeah.
She just never liked
Mom
them.
has a hard time with RPGs.
Eric B82
What up, buddy?
said Last of Us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right. That's
of
the
Us
correct
is-
answer.
And that goes to your point of modern music being more like not even orchestral, but more so like
Yeah, that one's not, but very mood driven.
Yes.
Like,
Like-
obviously they all are. They're trying to capture a mood and an energy, but I would say now more mood than energy.
Yeah,
I
this is
guess.
much more of a cinematic soundtrack. Like I would argue, you probably would not hear the soundtrack in any game before the PS3 360 era.
Right. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Because every game's music was more so like to fit the vibes, and games were always just crazy. I guess there are
Yeah.
slower and more like darker games, but
Maybe it speaks to the way games have evolved. Because can you imagine the Halo soundtrack over like a Sonic game?
that would be crazy. Although I would say they cross over a lot.
We should try that. We should dub modern soundtracks over old games and just
But
see how they play.
Halo was in that time, like Xbox before that. But that had like, the Halo 2 was like dun, 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 dun,
Oh,
dun,
yeah,
dun.
that's true, that's right.
It's got some good music.
Gosh, that just gave me a
one's-
flashback.
I know, right?
Good one.
JB the Canadian,
What up, buddy?
JB says, I don't know about best, but Donkey Kong Country 2 has always had a special place in my
Yeah,
heart.
see, that's a great example.
Yep.
That's why I put on Mega Man this morning, because I legit have like such solid memories. Same thing with Sonic
Yep.
1, 2, and 3. They're just like ingrained in my brain, and it just like holds a place in my heart. It's in my brain. It's in my heart.
Yep.
It's
That's
in
where
my
video
ears.
game music lies.
Yeah, dude, I love it.
And I mean, great
good
shout
call.
out to Rare. Rare makes like just good
Yes.
music. Perfect Dark, Banjo Kazooie, like
real.
their whole history of music is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And what's his name? Grant? I don't know. He's just a prolific artist when it comes to video game music. Grant
Your mom's a prolific
Kurthrope?
artist.
Kurthrope, I think.
Kurthope?
And- what?
Kurthope?
Kurthrope?
Grant Kirkthrope?
I'm gonna look it up, and we'll have it in our next segment. And finally, Nick Hampshire said Final Fantasy VII. Specifically, he said, "Not that you know." So this is a jab at you. Man.
Shut up, dude.
This is a jab. I know it. I love that soundtrack.
Nick's been trying to get me to play Final Fantasy VII for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And what sucks, I sat down to see like what games I was in the middle of on my PlayStation the other
Yep.
day, and I don't have my PS Plus anymore.
Oh, so you can't play Final Fantasy VII.
That's where I was
But
playing
the
it.
save's still there, right?
Yeah, save still.
So you just need to buy it.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah, you don't have to.
can't
It
afford.
goes on sale.
Can't
a lot.
afford an extra subscription right now. so-
Well, you don't need PS Plus, so you can still just buy the game.
How much is the game?
I don't know. It goes on sale a lot.
Your mom goes on sale. a lot.
$20 maybe.
Dude, I'm not Mr. Moneybags over
I'm
here.
just saying, you
Dr.
know,
Money Satchels.
skip a McDonald's trip and get a Final Fantasy.
You're talking crazy.
I know.
talking
But that is all the people we got.
Thank you guys for the responses. I want to go listen to the Chrono Trigger and Donkey Kong Country soundtracks like
Yes.
immediately. If you guys want to catch stuff like that, like I said, at the Keep Up Podcast on Instagram, we're also on TikTok and YouTube and on the same. Do you have anything else in reflections?
I don't, other than my personal soundtrack I'd throw in there, Sonic Adventure. That is
stuff.
a lot of vocals, but it's got all types of music. You have rock, you got rap, you got pop, you got it all from that soundtrack.
Yeah.
It was like, So good.
I gotta throw out Doom. I love Mick Gordon so much.
Doom is so good.
Yeah,
that
it's
gets
great.
the blood pumping. Like if you want to work out, if you want to freaking run a marathon,
Yeah.
get Doom in your system.
Yeah, that's the way.
But we will skedaddle out of reflections, and I think we should go into technology.
Oh, neat.
Technology.
All right, I'm ready.
Hold on, I'm looking up the
I'm
the
ready.
composer.
I'm ready.
Who was the guy I'm thinking of? His name's David Wise.
Yeah, that sounds a lot like.
I wanna
What'd you
know
say?
who
Stephen
No,
Kirkthrope?
it's
Greg
Grant.
Grant Kirkthrope.
I'm gonna look at Grant
Kirkthrope.
Kirkhope.
Kirkhope.
Kirkhope. What did he do?
Grant Kirkthrope.
See, he did a lot of rare stuff too. So who's David Wise? Composer. Oh, he composed Donkey Kong Country specifically.
The first one?
Yeah.
He did the water level?
Yeah.
Goated.
Doo-doo-doo. Anyways, we're in technology because Brett,
What?
you made that brand new transition for it.
I did.
So I have to use it,
That's
utilize
fair.
it a little bit
That's
more.
fair, yeah.
So the other day, it came to my attention that there is a new app out there called
Go on.
Cal AI.
Cow AI?
Cal AI.
COW.
Nope. Cal.
Cow.
Short for calories. So this is an app
Calories.
that what it's promising, what it's trying to do.
What's it promising and trying, dude?
When you take a picture of
When I do?
your meal, anybody, it will calculate
Shut up.
the calories. It will determine what the meal is and then do calories, proteins, a couple other things. And I'll pull them up in just a second.
That's insane.
Right. And so that's why I wanted to get it, because I want to see if it's accurate, what it can pull out.
Yeah.
So I've only done it with a couple meals because certain things are just like a bag of chips. I'm like, well, of course it's going to tell that. But so I have a couple of the results here. Now, first thing I want you guys to know, it does have a subscription. You do have to pay for
How
it.
many monies?
So it's $20 for the year,
Okay.
or I think it's like $5 a month or something like that.
So 20 for the year is definitely the move. That's
Yeah,
really not
so-
that bad.
Also, pro tip, it starts at 30. You say, no, I don't want it. And then they're like, we'll give you the one-time chance to get it $20.
That is a good tip.
Always say no first. So I really got this for experimental purposes because it sounds cool. And I'm like, how accurate can it actually be?
Yeah.
So let me pull up a couple of my pictures I've taken.
Because I'll say if it does do that, that's and you're a person that wants to track your calories.
Yes.
I mean, that's an invaluable tool.
So I want to preface
Tool.
this with saying I didn't change, or you can write in, like if it's wrong, you can write in what it's missing and
Okay.
add the calories and all that. So the first picture I took was for quiche and tater tots.
Yep. Okay.
So
Like a standard meal for
I don't know if you can see it, but zoom in on your whatever if you're watching the podcast.
the old quiche and tots meal everyone has once a week.
Right? Well, really, my experiment was to see if it could figure out it was quiche.
Yeah. No,
Because,
that's a good point.
I mean, it could look like a custard pie.
to be
it
fair,
could
those
be-
don't look like tater tots to me either.
No, they don't.
They look
but,
like nuggets.
but it was able to pull it out. So it said it was around 600 calories, which I don't know how accurate this actually is because it's tough to quantify what a quiche calorie-wise is.
It is, but I would say that's not far off.
No, so it's 365 per quiche is what it's saying here, but it counted it as one piece.
Sure.
Instead of the two pieces. So, and I didn't go in and change anything, like I said, I've been testing it. But it said 600 calories for the whole meal.
Yeah.
Carbs, 50 grams of carbs, 20 grams of protein, 35 grams of fat, and a health score gives it a 5 out of 10. So the health score is just how healthy of a meal it actually is.
Sure.
So not too bad.
No.
It got it pretty good.
Yeah.
The next one I did of shepherd's pie after I ate a bunch of it.
Yeah.
To see if it would determine it. So it split it up as ground beef, mashed potatoes, and corn. And again, it separates them specifically.
Let me see the picture.
It's like the worst picture.
I don't know if you can see it on there, but aim it just in case.
Yeah, so you guys can see like the type of picture I took.
That is actually pretty impressive that it would just break out what's in there.
Yeah,
Because that barely looks like potatoes.
It is true. It's like it's not.
That's kind of awesome.
It's pretty neat. Health score 7 out of 10. Again, listed out the things. So I need to do a little more research and compare it to the actual calories. Like I'll need to do maybe have 2 apps. But the next one is what I find most interesting.
I'm ready.
So yesterday I made a smoothie. And I just took a picture of the cup with the liquid in it.
It looks like a toilet, by the way.
Yeah, so it's just the liquid poured into a cup.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's going to think this is milkshake. It's going to think this
Yeah.
is like milk. It pulled out smoothie, which I have no idea how it did that. Not only that, but it accurately guessed that there was protein powder in there.
Shut up.
Which there was. It also guessed a banana and milk. Both of those are wrong because it was
Okay.
it was a fruit smoothie with what was it? Pineapple, mango, coconut, like little like a pre-made pack, and the milk was almond milk.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
which I mean, it's just the liquid poured into a cup.
Yeah.
So if I took everything and took a picture of all of it, it would probably be like, okay, almond milk, this, like the individual parts.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's something you might have to do. And then the other thing was a turkey bacon cheese sandwich, which again was just a picture of the sandwich.
You got a picture of the side of it. You can see all the contents.
Yep, throw everything in. So, and that I was trying to do it where it would see everything. So I added the mayo in this because it didn't have it.
Okay.
There is mayo on it, but it didn't catch it.
Yeah, you can't see
But
it.
again, pretty accurate. I got the bread, I got the bacon, the turkey, the cheese, and then I added the mayo.
What did it give you for that sandwich?
5 out of 10.
Calories?
540. Which
Sounds about right to me.
again, it doesn't know how much turkey's in there. I
Yeah.
think I had like 7 pieces of bacon. So I don't think it's accurate, but I think it's
Sure.
more so a look at a way to keep you like accountable.
Yeah.
So it's not for accuracy. It's more so of just being aware of what calories you're intaking.
Right.
A rough estimate. So, I mean, they're working on a ton of updates. They plan on doing other things in the future. But there's a whole analytic. It does your like weight, what you're trying to hit. It shows your daily intake, stuff like that.
That's honestly really cool.
Yeah.
I personally, like, the first time I tracked calories was probably like, I don't know, 4 or 5, like 6, 7 years ago, something like that. And at first I thought it was going to be super tedious, but you kind of start to get into it. It can become obsessive. But that's why something like this is kind of cool. If you can do something as quickly as take a picture and even estimate a little bit. That because I do it with calorie counting too, because it's hard. Some meals it's really difficult to know exactly what you're eating. So I do kind of an estimate as well. And it's cool, like you said, it's just a cool accountability thing. That's wild.
Yeah, so it was more so of a test. I'm going to stick with it because I paid for the year, so that will keep me accountable for it because I'm like, okay, I paid money for this.
What we should do is I'll bring over my food scale one day.
Yes.
We should make a couple sandwiches or something.
And see.
Weigh everything out first and measure it.
Yep.
I use Lose It. And then we'll take a picture of it and see how close it is.
Yeah, see, that's a good idea. That could be a video. What else was I going to say? There was one. I guess the only other thing is with the other apps, you can scan barcodes. And that would probably lead to the most accurate.
But you can't on this.
You can't on this. It's strictly food. And so it takes like a minute and it'll scan it with AI. That's the whole thing.
Did you test with a bag of chips, like you dumped it out and took a picture of it?
No.
I wonder, because that's a quick way to check.
Yeah. Right. I wonder if it like counts the chips or it just takes what the barcode of those chips would be.
We should check it after this.
Yeah, let's do some testing. I like I said, I just dipped my toes in it a couple
cool.
days ago, and I wanted to bring it up because if we talk about it again later, to see if they update it or change or whatever.
That's a cool use of AI. I like that a lot.
Yeah, because so far it's been relatively accurate. I don't know how it got the smoothie.
That's insane to call what kind of drink it is.
Maybe it did it based off the color, because
Color.
milk doesn't really look like that.
Yeah, texture maybe, but I mean it also kind of looks like a milkshake, like you said.
Totally.
So it's called Cal AI.
Yep, CAL space AI.
That's cool.
So app is free to download, but then they have the subscription.
Check it out, kids.
Check it out.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, and that's all I had in technology. Just a neat little thing I was testing out.
Is it time?
For movies?
Oh, yeah.
Pool.
Ooh, let's go to the movies.
We're fresh off the heels of Deadpool and Wolverine. And if you guys have seen it, it's not up yet, but we will soon have a full spoiler review and discussion about the movie up on YouTube.
Yes.
But for now, we'll give you the spoiler-free version, as is our flavor here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Let's get this out of the way. It's a keeper.
Yeah. I mean, would it have been anything else? I don't think so.
So for anyone who does not know, this is the third in the now trilogy of Deadpool movies.
And the 9th in the Wolverine.
Oh my gosh, is it?
I mean, I don't know.
That's crazy. Actually, so we have X1 through 3.
Yep. Do we count the cameo in Days of Future Past?
Gotta.
Or not First Class?
Is it? He's in Days of Future Past,
Right,
no?
but I meant to say cameo in First Class.
And then he's in Days of Future Past.
Yep.
Logan.
Yeah. The Wolverine.
The Wolverine Origins.
Logan? Did you say that?
I did. Is this literally 9?
That was, I mean, it was an educated guess, but
Educated wish.
yeah.
Um,
Nice.
so the story here is Deadpool is in an alternate universe, and
From the Marvel Cinematic Universe, specifically.
yes, alternate from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he is he doesn't want to go on this adventure. He's tasked himself with alone. So he goes through multiple universes and finds himself a Wolverine. I won't give more than that because I went in relatively blind, like not really knowing what was going on, and that made it pretty fun. Very excited to see Hugh Jackman back.
Yes.
The first 2 movies were very fun. If you are unaware, these are a hard R rating. So if you are queasy or easily offended, this is probably not the movie for you. But it's very funny. The fight choreography is so over the top and out of control in a very fun way. Tim, what do you got?
I was there for the whole. It's just a joyride.
Yeah.
I think they really wanted to make it fun for the audience, not so much have like heavy things involving all the other movies. I will say they were very tight-lipped on like cameos and surprises and stuff like that, and they nailed it. I was surprised a lot in this movie.
Avoid as much as you possibly can if you're interested in this, if you're a fan of Marvel across all mediums, because this was way more. One thing I said in the review that we'll post on YouTube is I don't know exactly what my expectations were, other than I just expected to have fun because the first 2 were a lot of fun. But they were blown out of the water because of that. I didn't expect nearly as much as we got. And I mean, they knew what you were there for. There are tons of fights.
Yep.
When I think back, I'm like, oh my gosh, there were probably like 7 or 8 like significant fights.
Yeah.
And
they didn't pull back. I mean,
No.
it wasn't they knew they were making an R-rated, and I feel like they went to the extreme because we'll never get something like it again.
Yeah, there was really like no character was wasted, no opportunity was wasted to show like a big, crazy, over the top, like potential freeze frame moment and slow-mo, gratuitous slow motion. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah.
But none of it wasted. It all felt really good. I would say the one thing was it's so comedic that there are moments that feel like this is a significant minority, I would say, at least for me. But there are some things that didn't like land super hard. But I think it's really because it's like a comedy from start to finish. It's just like they never stop the jokes. The fourth wall breaking is the most broken I've ever seen a wall.
Hugh Jackman kills it as
good.
Wolverine, as he always does.
Yeah.
But yeah, the costume looked awesome. I think the weakest part to me, was the story. At least elements of it. Not like there are parts that are really cool, but there are other parts where I feel like they just used it as a device to continue to get these characters to different locations
into like situations.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Where as opposed to it being a big part of the story or super important.
You really like didn't need a super complex story, but I could see someone calling it a negative that it was relatively. Earlier, I was saying kind of thin, but I guess a better term for it would be like simple. It's a very simplistic plot point.
Yeah, I think it's they're way heavy on the fan service.
Yeah,
it's meant to be enjoyed for the fans and have cool fights and be really enjoyable to watch, but you're not getting like a super meaty meal. It's like you're getting a meal with 1 million French fries and like 2 chicken wings. So you get all the delicious fun carbs, but you're not getting anything super meaty.
But they're like real good fries.
Oh my god, they're the best fries you've ever had.
Ryan Reynolds continues to absolutely be Deadpool. And Hugh Jackman, although there are some significant differences to this Wolverine, just seeing him back as Wolverine was very, very exciting.
Yeah, and it's really cool that Marvel was able to use Hugh Jackman
Yeah.
as Wolverine for maybe the only time.
Right.
I don't know where the path will lead eventually, but
Right.
yeah, they did some cool things that are different from a lot of the other movies as far as how they utilize Wolverine and, again, the costume and some story elements.
Yeah.
Because, again, they didn't have all these characters that they have access to now. So we're getting to the point where Do you actually? Let me cut that off there. Do you think we're at a return to form for Marvel? Is this a shot in the arm to help it like revive itself, or do you think this is a trend of new things like getting better, or how do you feel its impact has on the whole universe?
It feels like it could be that because there's a joke in the movie about where the MCU's at right now, which is very funny.
Yes.
So, okay, that brings us to, I think, another thing that we had on our list for this week. Recently at San Diego Comic-Con, they announced that Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the MCU as Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four movie. So that was something... excuse me, I had some air stuck in my throat. I don't know what happened.
That's called a burp.
Yeah, but it like hurt. You ever have that?
Yo, all the time.
There's another one.
Every time I wake up.
What did I even do? Yeah, I wake up kind of burpy too. What am I like?
You're not burping in your sleep.
Eating in my sleep. So I feel like these two things relate. For some obvious reasons because they're Marvel properties, but in the Robert Downey Jr. thing is a little take it or leave it, hit or miss. I don't know how you want to. I don't know how to feel about it because I understand that it was a cool, crazy announcement.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's kind of like, oh, well, why don't we get a different? Like, can you imagine being any other actor and being like, they're just giving new Marvel roles to people who've already spearheaded the MCU? Like, hook someone up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. Because, like, well, I think that's what they tried to do with Jonathan Majors is, like, give him, like, I didn't know who he was before the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
And so his character, Kang.
Krang.
Krang.
Different universe.
Yeah, so they were trying with him, but obviously everything that happened with him and his domestic abuse and all that stuff ended up him having to get removed. So it, to me, seems like a quick scramble for them to get something really big because they were building him up between multiple shows and movies.
Right.
He was like a villain in multiple movies. He was the whole story of Loki season 2 is about him. And so it seems like kind of a mad scramble. I don't know if that was their plan originally.
That's what I wonder. Like, I wonder what the conversations were like because I can't say that it's not kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's someone who has been at the heart of it since the beginning. He was the beginning of the MCU as we know it now. And so there is something exciting about that. And that feels a little bit of like a caffeine pill for the MCU. Like, hey, here's this. And it's like, okay, I'm excited. Like, it's already, the Fantastic Four is already really exciting because they're introducing 4 new mainstay characters all at once.
Yes.
That's really huge. So, you know, in a way, it's like you want Doom to be like what Loki was for the Avengers. And it's a little, you know, part of what was so amazing about Loki is I didn't know who Tom Hiddleston was, and he came in and absolutely murdered the role.
Yep.
So it's like you kind of want that again for a Doom. And Robert Downey Jr. is an incredible actor, so I'm sure it's going to be good. I hope it doesn't feel like Tony Stark even a little bit.
Well, I think they're going to go the route that he's from a different universe.
You do?
It's going to be a different universe version that is maybe seems good at first and becomes evil.
Because is Doom also like just a rich guy who wants to take over the world?
Yeah, well, his origin's kind of all over the place, but he was like part of the Fantastic Four's team.
That's right.
And they all get how does Fantastic Four get their powers? They go to space and get like radioactive waves. And...
Yeah, it's an error with some equipment during like transport or something like that. That's what I know it to be. Some version of that. Yeah.
So I didn't really know
equipment.
what Doctor Doom's powers were.
Metal.
Just
being
controlling metal.
No,
so he's Magneto.
I don't really know. Yeah. I'm not really sure.
So my big takeaway from the Robert Downey Jr. thing, I'm excited. Like you, I'm excited, but also like they could have given it to someone else.
Yeah.
What makes me a little more cautious about it, not optimistic, just cautious, is we have so much new blood in Marvel now that the impact of it being a Tony Stark will not be as strong. Because when we get to the Avengers, like, you know, we'll have Thor, we'll have Spider-Man, we'll have who else? Guardians, technically, potentially.
Yeah.
So, like, when it's revealed that it's Tony Stark, there's not as many players as there once was to be like to see how seeing him come back to life per se is.
So you're saying Tony Stark as Doom?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, well, isn't that? I don't think he's coming back to play Doom like a separate character. I think it's gonna be Tony Stark.
What?
There's no way they can pull that off and nobody be like, "You look like Tony Stark." No, I think it has to be a Tony Stark. I don't think it's just him playing Doom. That would be stupid. If he was playing Doom and not a Tony Stark variant, I think that's stupid.
I thought he was playing Victor Von Doom.
No, I think. Well, again, nothing's
You're
confirmed.
saying they? Okay, no.
Dude,
Dude,
go ahead.
you think they just spoiled the fact that in alternate universe Tony Stark is Doom?
Because there's no other way. There's no way they can have that actor play a new character.
That's what I think it is.
That would be stupid.
It's way more stupid for them to say, hey, here's a massive spoil. Can you imagine watching the movie and they reveal it's Tony Stark?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. That's what I wish they did instead of saying it. But it doesn't make any sense for it to be a different character.
That's so funny. You and I have been looking at this completely
different.
I thought, I'm pretty sure he's just coming back to play Victor Von Doom.
I can't imagine a world where these characters see him and they're like, holy crap, it's Tony Stark. Like, how could they look at that? Because you can't expect the audience to not see him as Tony Stark. And that would be crazy. That would make it way worse because then they really could have gotten anybody. I think he is coming
That's
back.
how I've been thinking about it.
No, I think he has to be a variant. And so what will happen, which is, again, stupid, is they'll reveal it's Tony, like, at the end of the movie, or it's going to be him gradually becoming Doom. So he'll come from another universe.
Then this was a massive spoiler.
That I can't help with. I agree.
Help it, Tim.
I agree. But yeah, because then,
That's
again,
wild.
I think everyone would be way too mad if they used him for just for a Doom character and not be a Tony Stark variant.
I think that's why people are upset.
I think that because we don't know what he's going to be used for.
Bro, that is a wild thought.
Yeah.
If that's what it is. I mean, I guess now maybe this is what they wanted. Like, we don't know exactly what it's going to be.
Right. But you're right. I mean, because how much better would it have been to be in the theater and like watch this whole movie about Doom and he removes his mask in the movie and it's a Tony Stark like variant or it's just Tony Stark and you're like, what? And then because supposedly he's in both. It's going to be a two-parter. It's going to be Secret Wars or Doomsday and then Secret Wars, or Secret Wars then Doomsday.
Goodness gracious, dude.
Yeah. So, but dude, if they're just using him as just like an actor to play Doom, that's stupid. I think that's a really, really poor choice on their end because they really could have gotten anybody and helped them out. Robert Downey Jr. does not need more fame.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he has to be a variant.
Well,
has to be.
Stay tuned to the MCU, which, I guess back to your original question about Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes.
I think this could be a catalyst. Like, it made me want to get back into the MCU.
Yeah, like I want to go and watch a lot of things.
The stuff I haven't watched yet. I want to go rewatch some stuff after seeing this. Like, it did kind of stoke the fire a little bit because I've missed a lot. And, I'm sure if I go back to where I left off, that might fizzle out a little bit because I wasn't, like, loving it. But I do want to make sure I'm caught up for sort of the next wave. And there's, I think, multiple movies now that I haven't seen. I haven't seen the Marvels.
That's the only one I know that came out.
Maybe that's it.
Lots of shows.
Yes. Yeah, I am behind on shows. But so I think it's possible. I can't say for sure. I assume this movie crushed opening weekend, but there was nobody at the theater we went to today, so maybe I'm wrong.
I know it crossed $1 billion already.
$1 billion?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I think it's going to kill it.
Yeah, so that's great news.
Yep.
And
so I think next is Captain America, Brave New World.
yes, that's right. And that's in February.
Okay, that's pretty soon.
Is that February?
I think so. I think
that's
you're
what
right.
I saw.
February 2025. So.
I saw the trailer today.
Yeah, which I'm excited for that. The only thing I have a trouble with Sam Wilson is he didn't get like a super soldier shot, right? Like,
I don't think
Captain.
so.
I just is he more frail than Captain America?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can't wrap my head around. Like, how can he be Captain America if he's just human? But I guess that's the whole point of the show of freaking Winter Soldier and Falcon or whatever. Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Where it's like anybody, not anybody could be Captain America, but a lot of people could be the symbol if the symbol represents goodness. I don't know.
Yeah.
Go watch the show.
You may be Captain America, but you're not Steve Rogers.
Exactly. That's the whole premise of it. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if it is enough to, make it amazing again, the MCU, but I am looking forward to the future.
I want us to get there, but every time I think about watching through like the first like 2 or 3 phases and just how hype it was,
Yeah.
and how good those movies still are.
I don't think we'll ever hit that. Especially
Winter Soldier. Are you kidding me?
all the movies.
I get the Russos back.
Yeah, well, they are back.
Good.
They're back for the Avengers movies, which I'm very curious to see what the team is there.
Yeah.
Because again, we're kind of all over the place with like who's alive, who's still in the
You
series.
think Deadpool shows up?
God, I hope so.
That'd be sick.
Deadpool and Wolverine, dude.
That'd be amazing. So that's entering new Avengers territory.
Yes, which could be the direction because there's the Thunderbolts. I guess they're still working on. So we have all those rapscallions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We're kind of all over the place.
Yeah, we really are.
But Avengers, I am looking forward to seeing because I want to see like more Spider-Man. I want to see like more of these older characters. So Doctor Strange too. He's still floating around.
Do you know about? Is it a game? Hang on, my brain might be making something up right now.
The
Is there
Captain America, Black Panther one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? Is it Avengers 1940 or 1914 or something?
I think it's 40s. I think it's World War II.
That makes sense. Why would it be 1914?
Just
Is it Captain America and Black Panther? I
Yes.
think it's what it's called. Yeah, but looks cool, right?
it looks amazing. So whether you guys are Marvel fans or game fans, this or none. I mean, it's just cool.
Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra.
Yeah, Rise of Hydra
Yeah.
takes place during World War II, and it's Captain America and Black Panther, but Black Panther is T'Challa's grandfather, I believe. And just like how cool to have Cap
Yep.
and Black Panther in that era
And it's
in a game.
written by the writer for Uncharted.
Yeah, right. What's her name?
Amy
Hennig?
something.
Amy Hennig, I think is her name.
Let me see. I'll find it. Yeah, Amy Hennig. Yep. Written, producing, all that stuff.
Dude, if that game sucks, I'm never playing a video game again because that makes no sense. It would-
the Avengers game wasn't great.
But Amy Hennig didn't write that.
It's true. It's true. But it's not all based on
'Cause-
the writing. Gameplay could be bad.
Shut up. Shut up, dude. Yeah, but what's so cool is like the Uncharted games play the way Winter Soldier is as a movie.
Yes.
I feel like. Just the action, the pacing.
But she's separate from Naughty Dog now. That's not a Naughty Dog game.
no, I know.
Do you want it? What? What?
I'm saying story wise.
I got you.
Whatever, dude.
But
Game's
the
gonna rule.
gameplay is part of the story.
Hey, you ever think about shutting up for a minute?
You know, I wish I could shut up, but I had to talk about another movie I saw. So, by the way, Deadpool and Wolverine, Keeper.
Yeah, it's so great.
So great.
If you saw the first two and enjoyed it, the opening sequence is incredible. It's funny.
Yeah, soundtrack is good.
It's
It's exactly what you want it to be, I think, anyways.
I left it wanting to I want to watch the trilogy now.
Yes.
It's very, very good. I can't wait to watch it again. So fun. Keeper.
Keeper indeed.
What's the other movie you got?
So to go from the amazing thrill ride that was Deadpool and Wolverine, I have to take us to another thrill ride, but you fell off the roller coaster 20 minutes in. That's the type of thrill ride we're about to go on. So recently, I think it was last week, I was talking about Godzilla and how I want to watch the movies and get the whole collection and everything. And so I decided to start where every good Godzilla fan should start.
At the beginning.
No. At the some of the best Godzilla movies require sacrifice.
Okay.
And sometimes you have to start at the weakest point so you can appreciate the strongest point.
Okay.
So I have witnessed this film called Godzilla, 1998.
Oh, dude, what? What a roller coaster.
Yeah, so this is one I've been wanting to watch for a while because I always hear it's bad. It's not great.
Yeah. Have you never seen it?
When I was a kid. I remember the cover. I remember like baby dinosaurs.
Yeah, so you were 3 when this came out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So I definitely didn't see it when it came out.
Yeah, I
but,
didn't really log it.
right. So this one stars Matthew Broderick and a bunch of other people that I can't remember their names.
Yep.
But this is the story. This is the American remake of Godzilla. And they tried. I mean, the only way I can describe this movie is they took what they thought was going to be a roller coaster at Universal Studios and made it into a movie. So many scenes play out like you're doing like the Jurassic Park ride, or like they have a big screen and they're going through the city. And I'm like, should I be like moving my chair while I'm watching this? Because that's all it is.
Right. I haven't seen it forever, but I can picture exactly what you're talking about. That's so funny.
So many shots like that. And it really is just a 2-hour one of those, which is unfortunate because those shouldn't be longer than the ride. And that's what this movie is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of just like nothing. How's
Godzilla look? Like the CGI.
Rough.
Yeah.
It's rough. So what I was reading is apparently, and I don't know how true this is, but apparently the 2009 Blu-ray release of the movie updated the CGI to make it how they intended it to originally be. Because when they recorded it or made it, the film that they used did not work well with CGI, apparently. This is from like a writer or producer or something. And they're like, but since that Blu-ray came out, that was the type of film we wanted the CGI to be on. So
interesting. Okay.
So the version I saw was on HBO Max or Max, and it didn't look great. So if that was the Blu-ray version, I don't even want to know what the original looks like. But yeah, it's really just like a nothing burger. It's
yeah. I mean, I think it was probably trying to ride the proverbial tail of Jurassic Park a little bit.
Yes, there's so many like homages and like attempts. Like the first time you see Godzilla fully, there's a lot of like, you see his claws come in or you see him running through the city, but you don't see him fully. The first time you do, it starts playing, which I can only equate as like the Jurassic Park when they first see what are the really long neck ones called? Brontosaurus, sure. When they first see that and it plays like magical wind chime music, like like that. There's totally they do that in
it's not wind chime.
I know, but they do that in Godzilla, but it's the same thing where it's like everyone's just staring in awe and he's like slowly walking towards a bunch of fish to eat. And it's just they're just trying to, like you said, capture the height that was or the hype of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, Jurassic Park made a huge, kids have always liked dinosaurs, but that brought dinosaur fandom, quote unquote, to like, or hobbyism to like just massive mainstream.
Yep.
And those movies, or at least the first one, still incredible.
I like 2 and 3.
I haven't seen them. I don't remember them at all. But I believe you.
Yeah, thank you.
That you like
for
them.
believing me.
I believe in you, Tim. So yeah, that's kind of how I remember that movie, is feeling a little bit like Jurassic Park in the city.
Yep.
And I feel like even Godzilla was not like as threatening as Godzilla should be.
No, it's definitely a smaller.
Small, yeah.
Smaller Godzilla. It looks different for sure.
Which, bro, think about. Yeah, I can picture the design, and it's like they tried to. It just looks real. It's like what dinosaurs look like in the 90s for whatever reason. Like it just looks like a very.
It's not accurate to anything. It's like someone made up the design.
Yeah, it's like they took a T-Rex and put like a weird head on it.
Yeah.
It is a very like specific, unique design where I recognize it to this day.
Right.
But like picture that next to Godzilla -1.
Oh yeah, he wasn't even taller than half the buildings in New York.
Right.
And you compare it to all the other Godzillas, it's probably the smallest one, I imagine.
Which is weird. You would think like, because definitely even if you watch the original Godzilla, it's a more threatening version than this. You would think this would be like, we're gonna crank it up. They don't crank it up.
No, not at all.
No.
It's wacky. It's weird. The acting's really bad. Godzilla's not great. Everyone's stupid in it. I mean, I can go on and on about this. It is just it's too long. It's like 2 hours and 13 minutes.
Is it?
And the movie, I swear, ends at one point and they're like, let's put on an extra 30 minutes. Let's make sure this doesn't happen.
As long as it's been since I've seen it, that does sound familiar, that like I thought it was over.
Yeah, there's definitely at least 1 to maybe 2 good ending points, and there's still like another 30
they just
minutes.
Steam by them.
I'm like, how is there more? And the human stuff I just didn't care for.
Yeah.
None of the characters were interesting.
I remember it being like, now granted they do this in the current MonsterVerse too, but it's like it starts, it's raining, there's some scientists.
The whole movie it's raining.
Of course
it doesn't stop, and it drives me nuts because everyone's soaked to the bone.
Why are all scientists in the rain and one guy's running down a hill holding something over his head going, "Did you get it? Are we doing it?"
Always holding the back of their coat over their head like
this.
Yeah.
And
their shoulders are up.
A static shot of them running down a hill and then in a tent like
So
Come on. And they're like turning dials.
Yep,
And I
it's
don't
like,
know. Every one of them.
it happens so much.
So funny.
Yeah, at best, I can see this movie as a guilty pleasure. If you watch it as a kid and you're nostalgic for it, otherwise, I see no value in watching it.
So you're saying sleeper?
Sleeper.
What if you're working your way through the Godzilla movies? Because I feel like this is kind of a unique category for us where we do this thing, and I'm sure we're not alone.
Yes.
Where you're like, I'm going to work my way through like the Friday the 13th series, and there's some crazy movies in there.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sure some of them could be categorized as bad, but it's
Yeah.
like, well, I got to see all of them.
Right, you
know
got to
what I
go
mean?
through it all. And yeah, so
Godzilla, granted, there's 32 movies or something like that.
yeah, I think there's 30. You might be right. 30, maybe 32 if you include like the Godzilla Kong ones now.
I think when -1 and the new Godzilla Kong one came
Yeah.
out, it brought him up to 32.
32. That's a lot of
I could be
freaking
wrong,
movies.
but
No, I
have,
think you're
have
right.
that number in my head for some reason.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, there's just like
Conditional keeper.
yeah, if you're watching all the movies, I mean, there's no reason to skip it other than it's just like there's nothing to
It's
it.
not a good movie.
But if you're trying to see like all the Godzilla designs, you want to see how like the Americans tried to do Godzilla and then how we successfully did it later.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see that take on it. But yeah, there's like some 90s stank to it. Stank. Sometimes it's a good stank, sometimes it's a bad one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like it's not one that I plan on watching ever again.
I gotta say, I do feel like the East has consistently done Godzilla better than we have over
Yes.
here. Like they, I love the I always say 14. Is it that old?
Yeah.
Okay, 2014 Godzilla. Love Skull Island. I loved King of the Monsters. But Shin Godzilla
And Godzilla -1.
and Godzilla -1 are like unbelievable movies.
League above. Yeah.
So good. And these just feel like different. I know some people like straight up don't like the ones we're getting here or that are being produced out of America, but I still really enjoy them.
I think it's cool we get both.
Oh, it's
really.
amazing. It's amazing. I'm telling you, dude, it is. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Man, I love being a turtle. Being a fan of green mutants and or creatures right now is a big plus.
You're winning.
Now is our time.
Yeah, that Ninja Turtle show is coming out 2 weeks. I
Oh,
think.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it.
Yep, that one's gonna be fun.
I started Arcane.
Oh, and
2 episodes deep. I'm like hooked. I'm
so
kind of
good.
bummed League of Legends is such a big commitment
Dude.
because
that was once I finished the show, I was like, I'm gonna go play League of Legends. I tried it for 2 minutes. I'm like, don't care.
done.
Don't
Yeah.
care. I just need the show.
You got to
The
dedicate to, you got to be the kind of person who's like, I'm only playing this game right
Yeah.
now. From what I understand.
Yeah, but it's also super toxic online and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Bye.
But yeah, sleeper for Godzilla. So now I'm gonna go and watch the original.
You got to report back on that
Yep.
because I was really impressed with the original. I just watched it. It was either beginning of this year or end of last. And they're all on HBO.
Did you watch it dub or sub? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Because I think I'm gonna watch them all sub.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I hear the dubs like can be rough and
It's got to be a nightmare. Dude.
probably tough to find
From
too.
men?
Like,
Well, they
Well-
might. You don't think they have it on HBO?
uh,
Where are you watching it?
well, I'm trying to get them all on DVD, right? That's,
Yeah, but did you?
well, no, I have certain ones, but I have the first one on DVD.
This guy over here. Oh yeah, you have that Gojira.
Yeah, so I could watch them on HBO.
That's tight, bro.
Yeah,
I like that.
it's a cool one.
You do what you want to do.
So, that's all I had in movies.
Can we go to games real quick?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Video games.
I have a very specific question for you.
Okay, hit me.
Maybe it's not that specific. I'm just curious your take on it because you've played a lot more VR games than me.
Yes.
So, hey, not that crazy of a life hack.
Okay.
For anyone like me, Tim does this sometimes, but I feel like I do it just because of the way my schedule is. And I go through moods where I'm like, I'm dying to play video games, but I start these like long story games where I don't necessarily get through them in, a couple sittings or whatever. And recently, I'm like feeling the bug. I'm dying to play games, so I'm sneaking it in here and there where I can. And I realize I'm like, what games have I started and not finished? I'm in the middle of 5 games, and
Wild.
yeah, it's a lot. So, and some of them like Resident Evil 7 and Quantum Break. I'm like, I don't remember. I remember kind of what was going on, but for reference, for anyone who doesn't know or isn't like. Doesn't care that much. There's a lot of story going on in these games, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I'm not going to replay it. I know I could just pick it up and like I'll kind of get it, but it's that thing where we've talked about like you watch a movie and you don't retain it all or read a book and you're like, damn it, what did I spend all that time for? You
Right,
know?
if I can't even recall details.
Yeah, and you know, I think we're both really big story guys. It's like I want to see, especially a game like Quantum Break from Remedy, who are a company and a team that tell like a really in-depth story. And so I was at work the other day, and I have the type of job where I'm at liberty to put on a YouTube video. And I was like, wait a minute. I can find full Let's Plays of these games, speed it up, and watch up to the point where I'm at. So I did that.
Dude, big brain move.
I was
there.
so excited. So just a little tip. If you've ever, I wish I thought about this with friggin', what's that game that I never went back
Jet Force
to?
Gemini.
The worst, dude. Jet Force Gemini. We haven't told this story in a long time.
I still have yet to play it because of your horror story with it.
Dude, it was, I feel like this was when I was getting back into playing video games and I was going through a bunch of stuff, and the N64 notoriously has these graphics where you just get lost, and not every game, of course, but things were very polygonal, and it was just very sharp edges.
And not a lot of direction.
Not a lot of direction at all. And I played this game for so many hours. And then I forget, I think it was a few weeks I didn't play it. And then I went back to play it. And I'm like, I literally don't know what to do.
I have no idea what to do.
Spent an hour walking in circles. Everything looks the same. And so I just never beat it. And I always felt like I had put so many hours into it. I was like, I'm not going to start it over. I guess I could.
Do you think you'll ever revisit it?
I was
it's on the rare replay. So you don't need to get it
right.
on the N64 or anything like
I
that.
could now. I feel like I could get into it. I was wondering recently, I was watching a list of must-play games or whatever, and or games that have been lost to time that like got overshadowed by another like AAA release or something, but the game itself was like really good. And there were some N64 titles on there. And I'm like, I haven't really gone through a period of revisiting N64 stuff or like Dreamcast, that era, in a while. A lot of PS2 stuff, PS1. So I guess that era, but just not those consoles specifically. But I could see myself going back. Those games were really, really fun. I never played Ocarina of Time. So I would have reason to go back, and maybe the wounds have healed from friggin'
Maybe.
What's it called?
Jet Force Gemini.
Don't even say it, dude.
Freaking rare.
Anyways.
So, what is that?
Why'd I bring that up?
Yeah. You're talking about VR. You said I had like VR.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll get there now.
And just so we don't overshadow, your point is, if you are lost or haven't played a game in a while, check it out on YouTube.
Yeah,
you can watch it on YouTube.
And you can speed it up. You can watch it at like 1.5 speed, so you
Great
can still
idea.
hear cutscenes and stuff. So I did that, got caught up on Quantum Break, and then the other one that I did was Silent Hill. I've beaten Silent Hill before, but I started it again like a year ago, and I stopped. I forget why. I think I had an urge to play it one night, and then it kind of went away. I was playing other stuff, not important at all.
I think it's important.
I think it's important. So
Just like Sonic music.
solid setup. It was all worth it. So I was like, oh, I forget where I stopped. And it was funny because I went on, this is another aside, but I did Quantum Break, and I was like, at least based on the YouTube video, I was like, oh, I'm like 3.5, 4 hours into that game.
Oh, wow.
And then Silent Hill, I was like 30 minutes into it.
Really?
Yeah, it did not get far. I got to the school, and then I played
That's not
for a while.
30 minutes in.
Well, the way this guy was playing.
Yeah,
'cause,
right.
You know, he probably
That's the
knew all
other
this
thing. When
stuff.
you watch those videos, don't think you're doing bad if someone gets there, because they play. Like,
They've played it.
It's a
Yeah.
professional playthrough,
Right,
for
and
sure.
and if you see a transition cut, like a fade out and in,
They got lost
they
for
got
4 hours.
They got lost for sure. I saw one and I was like, "Ooh, he got lost
he got
outside."
lost. Yep.
So I bring all that up because I was on YouTube. I was watching the Silent Hill one, and I know Silent Hill 2 gets, and Silent Hill 1 is well praised as well. There's something on my screen. Tim, vamp.
So yeah, Silent Hill is a game. Oh, Silent Hill remake's coming out. Silent Hill 2 remake. And dude, I do not want to touch another Bloober Team madness.
It's gonna be good.
Dude, Dude, I was thinking about their games the other day, and they just all make me sick.
That's when I think that I was thinking about them too, and I like it.
Dude.
I heard a good review of The Medium the other day, and
Did I give it a sleeper? Were we doing that at the time?
I don't think you gave it a sleeper.
I didn't really like it. It was fine.
You just don't like Bluebird.
Yeah, well, because all of their games are fine. I have Layers of Fear 2 I got to play.
Yeah.
Well, I don't got to, but that's like one of the only ones I haven't
I
played.
liked Layers of Fear. I loved Blair Witch.
All of it's just
I
okay.
really liked it.
But you were... So what did the phone say, by the way?
It's just my battery's getting low.
Okay.
But we're okay.
Yeah.
Tim, it's a camera, not a phone.
Wow. So you're talking about Silent Hill, watching the
so I'm
playthrough?
watching the Silent Hill one, and I'm like, man, I have headphones on, and I'm just listening to the sounds.
Yep.
And everything from like the start menu, like, there's some nostalgia there, but even just the quality and like types of sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then watching the gameplay, there was something that happened, something silly, like solving a puzzle or whatever. And I was like, man, I just felt kind of a dopamine hit about like really sitting down, turning off the lights, getting into a game. Doesn't have to be a scary game. I just happen to be watching Silent Hill. And I'm also not one to watch Let's Plays because I like to play the games.
Right.
But I was just sitting there watching it, and I'm like, man, I love this experience so much. Like, I love the immersion of a good story game. I also love the experience of playing with friends, and but that's a different thing when I can sit down and really like just hone in and get lost in that world. It's one of the things that's so cool about video games is the overall storytelling and art of it, and the way it is an immersive experience that's different than watching a movie, for instance. And so here's my question for you.
Okay.
I feel like for me, that immersion experience is perfected with a big enough, clear enough screen that it's like I can focus on only that and nothing else in the room, lights off and good headphones on. I feel like once it's VR, I know it's technically more immersive, but it doesn't feel as satisfying to me for some reason.
It definitely depends on the game.
Sure.
I will say horror in VR is a million times scarier than just playing a horror game.
Does that make it better though?
It makes it so I can't play them.
Yeah.
It's too scary.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
want
lot.
to be in these
It's a lot.
worlds. Resident Evil 4 was pretty intense in VR.
Yep.
But that one's a very action focused game.
It is.
So having played both the console port and the VR version, I would probably still prefer the console port.
Yeah.
But it is quite the experience to play it in VR.
If you were going to sit down and play, like, if you were like, oh, I'm in the mood to play Resident Evil 4.
Yep.
I'm going to put in like 4 or 5 hours tonight, just like hang out, have a good time. How are you playing it?
Probably console version.
Why?
Because laziness. VR, you have to you have to stand. You
It's
have to be.
active.
So specifically in Resident Evil, you had to actively aim and shoot things.
I did play that a little bit.
Yes,
I played it
I
here.
had you
Yeah,
play it
that's
just
right.
a little bit because it's unlike, it's a great way to play that
It
game
is cool.
that we played
It's
a million
very
times.
cool.
But yeah, nothing beats just being able to sit down, have the controller, and go through the motions of something I'm very familiar with.
Yeah.
In VR, it's a little bit unpredictable.
Right.
Again, you have the movement. Granted, that's essentially a one-to-one port. So you're
Right.
going through the same environments, doing all that stuff. But yeah, there's something to be said about, especially now that I have those lights behind the TV.
Yeah.
That adds a whole new level of immersion because now there's like cool lights shooting out.
Very
like,
cool.
when you're playing stuff.
Yeah, Tim has these lights that like basically mimic what's happening on the screen in color, and it just it's another like depth.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it has something to do with like when you're playing in VR, it's a little different. Like I wonder if your attention is on how to play more than it is if you're like holding a controller, which is how we've been playing video games our whole
Forever,
lives.
yeah.
So you're more focused on what's going on screen.
I will
don't
say
know.
some of the better gaming experiences I've had in the last 10 years have all been VR.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's different. But
Could
there
be.
was Astro Rescue, Astrobot, like Rescue, whatever. And that's a VR platformer. So you put on the helmet and you play with a controller.
Yeah.
But the gimmick of it is you have to like move your head to either dodge enemies attacking you or to see through the level.
That is pretty cool.
So it's like a new depth to add to a platformer. And that was cool. That was like unlike anything I've ever played before.
Yeah.
And similar to like Super Hot VR. Is
Oh,
like,
that's great.
that game's great on console, but in VR is next level.
Yeah, that's a good example where I feel like VR is the way to play that game. Like I would give that game to anybody, even if they've like never played a video game.
Yep.
It's just fun.
Right, because that feels like an amusement park thing.
It's like laser tag
Yeah,
almost.
yep.
It's like it
And
has
you're
a
like-
similar appeal to it.
You're shooting at things, you're dodging things. Beat
that's a
Saber
great
is another
game.
one. Like it's a really
Yeah.
cool new version of Guitar Hero, essentially. But you get lightsabers and you play to music. So I mean, they are two completely different experiences, and immersion's a big thing. But yeah, most horror games, I'll play with the lights off, the cool lights in the background, and all that stuff. But I would never opt to play it in VR over that because there is a level of immersion that's too much.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it crosses the line for me at some point.
And I love horror stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'll play horror games, I'll watch horror movies, I'll do haunted
Right.
houses. But there's something that is just terrifying because things always get you from behind.
That's a nightmare. And I'm just thinking about like the environments of Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, because that one's in VR. 7, 8,
Right.
and 4 remake has its own VR version now too.
And just being in that actual environment, like
dude, 7 I played in VR for fun. That whole first hour, that first
that's what I'm
sequence,
thinking.
dude. It's terrifying. It's not fun. It's so scary.
Too scary.
So, yeah, their immersion's very important. VR to a point gets too much,
Yeah.
depending on what you're playing. But I always opt for the console experience.
Yeah.
I don't use VR as much as I should. But there's still, I would say my experiences with VR have been a lot higher than a lot of other games I've
Sure, that's fair. Probably a higher volume of console games are like, meh.
Right. That I'm just like, okay, going through the motions
Yeah.
to a degree, anyways.
To a degree. I hate to do it to us, but I think my battery is on its way out.
We can call it here.
So I think we got to call it. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. This has been episode number 296. You can hang out with us across all socials at the Keep Up Podcast. That's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can also get yourself some extra bonuses at patreon.com/thekeepup. I have some behind the scenes stuff I'm going to be posting on there. I have, I'm going to be posting on there for patrons at the Cricket City tier to make your recommendations or submit reviews for us to read throughout August on the show. What else? I guess that's it. Tim, tell everybody where they can find you and your stuff.
You guys can find me at Collection Revolution all over the place. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's TikTok, that's YouTube, that's Twitch. All the social media platforms.
Yeah.
I'm probably there.
Probably
Brett,
there.
where can the good people find you and your weird eyelids?
Fantastic. You can find me at This Drink I Like It. All one word, no underscores or anything like that, on Instagram. And there's a link tree there that will get you to all my music, another podcast I did, like all kinds of other stuff. You can also find me specifically at Sounds Like ATA on Instagram. I have a few shows coming up. I have new music coming out soon. I just had two... I don't even know if I told you this. I had two features drop like a day apart from each other. So
you know what? I think I did see one.
Yeah?
I didn't listen to it yet, but
That's okay. You're the worst. So if you, I rap under the name Animatronic the Abolisher. If you want to look me up, you can find my features on my Spotify page. They're connected. There is an album called The Broke Tapes Volume 2, an EP that just came out by an artist named Campaign, and I have a feature verse on there, and then a band called Seize Kill. If you're a fan of new metal, they're doing it like late 90s, early 2000s new metal, kind of the golden era of that genre, and they asked me to do a feature on that, so I'm on that album as well. So it's pretty cool because I had nothing to do with the planning of those. They showed up on my Spotify, and I was like, oh, I have two new verses out. So,
okay.
that's fun stuff. Anyway, Sounds Like ATA across all socials. That's it. Tim's going to do what's called End Babble, and we will see you guys next week. Tim, your subject is Deadpool on a noodle dragon. Okay, thanks, love you, bye.
Well, this is a moment where we would break the fourth wall and tell you that Brett and I are actually just puppets controlled by Marvel. We are just nothing but little toys used to spread the propaganda of the good people at Disney. Go buy Mickey Mouse stuff. Go buy fish sticks. But also buy the latest toy, Deadpool riding a noodle dragon. A dragon unlike any you've seen before. This dragon is made of nothing but ramen noodles. flying through the air like the beautiful dragon from the Never-Ending Story. But in this case, he doesn't get eaten. Go watch the movie. It happens. And Deadpool's riding on top going, yippee-ki-yay! And also, ham sandwiches. And who could forget his most famous line, I'm gonna wreck it. And you can get all that and more at thekeepup.com/Deadpool Noodle Dragon. Not affiliated with Disney, but also we are. Please save us. And so I'll leave you with this. Don't listen to propaganda. Like what you like. Buy what you want. You want the Deadpool Noodle Dragon, make it yourself. Don't spend money on the man. Spend money on things you love like your family. Thank you.